help them.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Absolutely. Good evening, ma'am, and all present here. In the last few months, all of us have been witness to an event which none of us had ever faced in our lifetime, and hopefully we never will again. And we all had to innovate to create new ways of communication, learning, working, teaching. Those of us in education have suddenly undergone a skill upgrade. We've had to learn new ways of technology to reach out to our students in a way that our students will come out of this as if nothing really happened, because there is continuity of curriculum. I've taken this opportunity, this lockdown period, to interact extensively with Indian universities all over and my senior students, and I've found out a lot of things which I can share with you now. Indian colleges and universities in India have started preparing to they have started preparing to welcome the next batch of learners. And they have promised, of course, that there would be an extension of deadlines. They've even made the entire structure very flexible. They promised that the new batch would begin by August or September. Now, there are new age colleges like Kriya, Ashoka, OP Jindal. There are many others who were already conducting online classes, essays, personal interviews, and they are absolutely on schedule. In fact, the good news is that Kriya has now introduced around 5 of applications also for those who have Plan B. Plan B is for those who have planned now not to go abroad, but to study in India. So you see, we have your children's back. Everyone is preparing. No one was prepared for this. And it was likewise for colleges and universities. But now they have started preparing themselves. They're gearing up for that. They are holding webinars. They are connecting one-on-one with parents and students to try and quell their anxieties. They have promised that some element of curriculum would be conducted online because they've seen how well it goes. Conventional colleges that consider only class 12 marks as one of the major criteria for admissions, they have also announced that they will be having some flexibility. The dates are being deferred for admissions. They will be conducting online tests. Let me give you an example. St. Xavier's 2 days ago has announced its online admission tests on for BCom and BMS students on the 31st of May, and for science and arts students on the 7th of June, likewise with presidency and many others. In fact, all the entrance exams, the major entrance exams, they have deferred their dates and they've started announcing their dates of conducting. For example, the JEE, the mains are going to be conducted between July 18th and 23rd. The NEET is going to be conducted on the 26th of July. The CBSE has announced that they will be conducting exams in the first 2 weeks of July. ISC and ICSE has not given a definite date, but they've given us a kind of schedule that after the lockdown is lifted, they will have a 6 to 8 days gap for allowing the schools to prepare themselves for the exams, and then within 7 to 10 days, they will conduct the exams. So you see, there is a silver lining in every dark cloud. People have come out of this. They have started uh, innovating and taking care of the future. My question to the students is, right, the education system is doing everything to put things in order. What are you doing in this lockdown period? Have you upskilled yourself? It is no more survival of the fittest, it is survival of the quickest to adapt. Have you started becoming future ready? Have you acquired those employability skills that will be necessary? What kind of skills am I talking about? There are online courses. For example, all the IITs, IIT Roorkee, for example, has a free online course on artificial intelligence. There are Harvard, Stanford, UCLA, which are offering about 800 online courses which you can upskill yourself with. What are the skills that you need to know? Coding, data analysis, these are the or artificial intelligence, machine learning. These are the courses which you are going to need in the future. Make yourself future ready. Make yourself, because there is going to be a huge digital transformation across all fields, whether it is business, entrepreneurship. Have you heard the term serial entrepreneurship? I heard it for the first time during this period. It is when you can switch from one business to the other, seeing the need of the hour. So have you been able to acquire that kind of a skill, adaptability, learn these new skills. Hybrid learning, cross learning, interdisciplinary learning are the skills you would require for the future. You need to know new languages. There are apps which teach you languages free of cost. So make yourself future ready. Make yourself more employable, my dear children. Use this time constructively. That's it for now. Thank you.
Um, Thank you, ma'am Anuja. That was really, really helpful. I'm sure all the parents who are wanting their children to study here in India itself and in Calcutta, they'll be greatly, benefited by this. So now we move on to, since we realize that you're helping them with, class 12 children who just graduated and who are about to graduate. You were helping them. Thank you, Anuja, ma'am. We have another career counselor, but we will ask her to come a little later. She's going to tell you about all the universities across the world, not within the country, but outside the country, and she's going to help you with that. Meanwhile, I'm going to go on to our very, very special people in the school who are our student counselors. Now, the first person who's here is Ma'am Reena Datta. Now, Ma'am Reena Datta is going to tell you exactly why and how children, in this during this pandemic, they're finding it very difficult to stay at home. They are bored. They feel fragile. They feel lonely. They feel depressed. They can't live without their friends. They can't live without their routine, without their school. So these people are finding it extremely difficult. And since these are some behavioral changes that are required, we will need your help, parents. And our madam, Hina Datta, who's a counselor, student counselor, she has a long number of years of experience. She is going to help you to identify symptoms as to what will happen at the time when your children feel that they have too much on their hands and they cannot meet their friends. They feel very, very emotional, very fragile. So, Ma'am Reena Datta, if you can please take over.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Good evening, everyone. I'm Reena Datta, one of the student counselor of the Heritage School. Today, I would like to share a few case studies on students who were identified as emotionally fragile. The first case which I would like to share with all of you is in the beginning of the new academic session, it was reported by a teacher that a child in her class stays alone and doesn't want to talk or play with others. He was sent for counseling, and in the process of the session, it was observed that he was the only child in the family and he was extremely pampered by his parents. He was given everything he wanted, but he was not able to get the same treatment outside his house from his friends and others. So he started throwing tantrums on them. As the time passed, he started staying alone because he was not able to manage his interpersonal relationship. The second case which I would like to share here is one day after my life skill class, a student came running and he shared that he has scored the highest in his weekly test and has come first in Kho. But later, it was seen that nothing like that has happened. What he was sharing was his desire, and he did not even realize that. The child was taken under regular counseling session, and it was observed that the child had the potential, but he lacked self-motivation and self-confidence. The third case which I would like to share here is something very, very severe, where a child tried to harm herself because she did not do well in her examination. All these cases were dealt very, very sensitively, and with constant counseling and support from parents and teachers, the students finally improved. The reason behind sharing these examples is to help parents identify students who are emotionally fragile and to provide them with immediate help or refer them for immediate intervention. Now, I would like to share a few more characteristics of emotionally fragile individuals. The first and foremost one is inability to process or understand emotions like sadness, anger, disappointment. They often overreact to these kind of emotions. Second, a constant sense of emptiness means they lack meaning and purpose in life. Even if they set goals for themselves, the goals keep on changing frequently because they are not able to reach that goal. The third case, the third which I would like to share is difficulty in taking control over their own lives. They feel that everything is too much for them and they are not able to take any decision. Four, not able to cope or deal with any kind of pressure. Fifth, constant problem in their social life. They feel that everyone around them is a disappointment, so they hesitate to trust others. Sixth, they lack interest and ability to do anything. Seven, they face difficulty in taking criticisms. They are not able to take the criticisms in a positive way. Eight, they seem insecure doing just about any task. They feel ineffective and have low self-confidence. Now, we'll quickly move on to a few ways to help these students. The first and the foremost thing is sensitizing parents to identify symptoms, which we have already discussed. Number two, refer to the counselor for counseling session, and if required, the child can be sent to a therapist. Third, scaffolding by parents and friends because we need to work as a team. Individually, we cannot help the child. Fourth, identify the areas of strength and interest and involve them there to make them feel self-worth and self-confident. Mark the progress. This is something which is very, very important. If the child is improving, means the intervention is helping the child. If the child is not improving, the intervention needs to be redesigned. And if the child is in the same condition, means the intervention needs some kind of modification. Six, sharing tried and tested case studies with them. Seven, work towards family that believes in grit. G stands for growth, R for resilience, I for integrity, and T for tenacity. Hope this will be of help to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Reena. Now,
Thank you.
yeah. So she spoke about the emotional fragility as to how children are fragile. And we do understand these things, parents. We do realize that there are children who, are so fragile. They feel that they are the ones who are not being loved by anybody else. So they maybe try to harm themselves. Sometimes they're so fragile, they have sibling rivalry. They feel their parents don't love them much. They feel lonely all the time. They're dependent on their friends. Anyway, so parents, don't worry, because we are going to take this in progression. First, we're talking about the fragility and how to deal with that. And now we're going to talk about emotions, because we firmly believe that people who are emotional are the ones who are very, very strong, because being emotional is a strength and not a weakness. So we would like to ask another student counselor of our school, Ma'am Gunjan Ghosh, who is going to tell you why being emotional is a strength. It is not a weakness, because we're not stone hearted. We are good people. We love it. We love being emotional. So, Ma'am Gunjan, over to you. Could you please inform parents that children are fragile, they're emotional, but there's nothing to worry about? Ma'am, please take over.
Absolutely, ma'am. Thank you so much. A very good evening and warm greetings to all dear parents and students. A cordial welcome to you. Namaste. I, Gunjan Ghosh, student counselor of the Heritage School, address you on emotional coping. As very rightly said by William James, acceptance of what has happened is the first step of overcoming the consequences of any misfortune. Today, we discuss having strong emotions during a pandemic is actually a strength, not a weakness. The COVID-19 global pandemic has resulted in loss of lives across the world. Regrettably, the number continues to grow each day. In the midst of the COVID-19 health crisis, many adults and children are experiencing a host of negative emotions like anxiety, frustration, insecurity, and sadness. The signs of emotional stress are difficulty concentrating, changes in sleep, eating pattern, concentration issues, or even depression and loneliness. This is a time for strong emotions, parents. You may feel overwhelmed, angry, and agitated. But we have to find ways to reduce stress in order to help ourselves. Taking care of our family's emotional health is just as important as caring for our physical health. Many families are fearful of contracting the virus. They feel isolated. Many are dealing with job crisis, financial instability, trying to balance work from home, helping children with schoolwork, and dealing with challenges of distance learning. Shared family activity like cooking, cleaning the house, doing yoga together imbibes emotional strength. This gives added chance of recovering from the chain of negative emotions. Parents, don't forget to take time out for yourself. That can be 15 minutes a day, which you can set aside. Do what is mindful and positive for yourself. Children pick up on their parents' emotional distress. Be mindful as your negative feelings might affect your child. Stay connected with your loved ones. Cultivate ways to be calmer. Improve your sense of control. Accept situations that cannot be changed. Focus on what you can change. Consider the stressful situation in a broader context. And share your concern and feelings with people you trust. Limit the amount of news and information you digest regarding the pandemic. Too much information will trigger anxiety, frustration, and sadness. Eat healthy, exercise, make your bed a no worry zone. Limiting screen time at least an hour before sleeping is very important. Make sure the whole family is active throughout the day. Be aware, stay active, feel connected, keep learning, express gratitude, take breaks in between work, do things which stimulates you and look into things positively. These are the few ways to help stay off anxiety and make the best of the time you have. Let's preserve our mental health at this hour of crisis. Keeping our sense of positivity high will help us overcome the crisis around. Being emotional is being human. Don't be harsh to yourself and others. Positive outlook will help us reach the goal of winning through this emergency. Retain your true self. Stay hopeful. All will be good as we take up this challenge together and fight against all odds. Bob really says, hard times don't create heroes. It is during the hard time when the heroes within us is revealed. Treat children with care and compassion. It is perfectly fine to feel bored, and it is okay if your child says, I'm not enjoying staying in, let me go out. This is not a tantrum, parents. This is natural. A child might say, please let me go. I feel irritated. I don't want to study. This is actually a spontaneous expression. Please be calm and soothe yourselves, parents. Be tolerant and guide them through this phase so that they stand out strong and bright. Make a productive schedule for your child. Communicate more. Try to understand their feelings and engage them in functional activities. Help your child know their strengths and potential. Guide them to improve from weaknesses. Positive mental health is power. Strengthen yourself with confidence. Let us embrace good health together and emerge in light of well being. Self assurance and belief is the key to get over distress. We are with you in the same journey. Quoting Matthew McConaughey, let's take care of each other and ourselves. Let not go to the lowest common denominator and get paranoid. Let's do the due diligence and take the precautions that we need to. We are always by your side whenever you need us. Please feel free to connect with us through email or phone shared on screen. We are always there to help you find solutions for the problems you face. So, parents, let's take care of ourselves, our family, and our community as a whole. Stay well, stay connected, take care because you matter to us. Thank you so much, dear parents and students present here today with us.
Okay, thank you so much, Gunjan. So, parents, we began with the emotional fragility, then we came to emotion being a strength, and now we want to talk about resilience. Only thing is, I want to just talk to you about Mr. Pani and Pramitra sir. Could you please help parents get into the meeting because there are a whole lot of them saying that we're not being able to get into the meeting. And some parents are writing to me that there are lots of parents who are wanting to get in, but they're not being able to get in. So could you please help them enter the meeting,
But
please?
ma'am, whatever request is coming, I'm allowing everybody, ma'am.
So,
Whatever
but then
request,
I'm receiving requests from parents on the phone and here as well on the messages.
we have only
Okay,
100 participants. Okay.
never mind, never mind. So, sir, I just wanted to say that if you can allow them, this is just a request. Okay. So, parents, we move on to the next level. So, here we are fragile, then we treat emotions as a strength, and then we treat emotions as strength, and then we say, fine, let's become resilient. So what if there is pandemic? So what if we are a little unsettled? We are heritance. We can we can manage everything. And together with parents, children, teachers, I'm sure we will be able to come out winners. So Miss Pooja Jain, who is again one of our student counselors, Pooja ma'am, could you please help us? Parents?
Thank you very much, ma'am. A very good evening to everyone. From past half an hour, we have been hearing about the crisis and the challenging situation all of us are in, and it is very normal for us to feel anxious in the changing situations. I would like to begin you asking all a question. With a raise of your hand, tell me how many of you think that it is okay to have problems in our life? Yes, as I can observe, most of us agree to this. Problem is a sign of life. As long as we are alive, we shall have problems. The day we don't have problem, we will be dead. Yes, it is important to have problem in our life, but you know what? What is more important than that? It is an ability to bounce back from the challenging situation with a smile on our face, and that is being resilient. Of course, we cannot solve all our problems, but we can handle them. And what could be a better way than a serenity prayer, which is also our heritage tradition? So what the platform is different. Once a heritage, always a heritage. So I would now request all of you to please close your eyes and join your hands and speak the prayer in your mind after me. Dear God, grant me the serenity to change the things I cannot, and courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know what I can and cannot. Amen. So, coming back to resilience and be resilient, let us accept it. Everything in life is not in our control. Then, why bringing in stress, thinking, and fighting for the things that we cannot change in our lives? It is important for us to focus on what we can control. Each one of us has unique qualities and skills in us. Utilize your skills and strength to overcome your challenges. Find out what works for you. This is the time. Now is the time. Let us come out a little more knowledgeable, a little more healthier, a little more fitter and upskilled than before. And if we cannot do it now, then let me tell you, we never lacked time. We lacked self-discipline and we lacked commitment. Life is full of choices. Make correct choices in life which brings success. Repeating the same mistake again and again brings failure, but repeating positive behavior again and again is what brings success. Now let us see how we can utilize this downtime. Deepen your connections with others. Spend time with each other. Don't let physical distance come or become a social distance. Make that video call who are far away from you. Make people feel heard, support, and appreciate each other. Having a positive outlook in life is the key to the challenging situation. Parents, tell your stories of struggle and failure to your children in a way that is sensitive to your child's level of understanding. This will help them understand that life is good despite the challenges, and this will improve your connections with them. Children, respect your parents' hard work, discuss with them, talk with them, listen to them, and it will help you to make important decisions in your life, and you will not repeat the same mistakes which they have made. Be together with each other at all times. Yes, parents, all of us are here for this today. We cannot do it all alone. Let's reach out to people, give help, and get help. Please feel free to get in touch with us. We are just a message, an email, or a phone call away from you. We assure you to provide you with the best possible solutions we can. At Heritage, I believe parents have been always our best partners. And I also believe that together we will overcome. खुश रहे, स्वस्थ रहे, मस्त रहे. Thank you. Have a great year ahead.
This sounds very good. To be honest with you, when you say that, have a great year ahead, I was thinking of deleting the year 2020 from my life completely. Anyway, so you say great year ahead. I'm hoping that half the year is gone. It hasn't been very great for us. But let me see. Let's see if we can, it will be better now. Another thing, parents, now that we've heard these counselors speak, we also have some, people with us whose children may be requiring some special help. Ma'am Sheila, who is the department head for our special needs, she makes sure that children are looked after very, very well. And the patience that we require to handle these parents, to handle these children, is immense. So parents, I would request now Sheila ma'am to tell you what exactly happens when these children who have certain special needs, they are at home and you have to look after them. Normally also anyone whose routine is changed a little bit, they find it very difficult to cope. What about these children who live by their routine? They find it, it's becoming impossible for them, and the parents must be finding it so difficult. After Sheila ma'am's speech, we will again ask one of our career counselors to help you with the admissions of children who would like to go abroad. So just the last two speakers left with us. So ma'am, Sheila ma'am, please take over.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Good evening, parents. We are all aware of the ongoing pandemic and the miseries which it has brought forth. If it's a difficult time for you and me, for all of us, it's even more difficult and disturbing for our special kids. The stress, anxiety, trauma are manifested in behavioral aberrations of various types, from mild to moderate and sometimes even very severe. Their inability to express themselves in a socially appropriate way, they tend to show different kinds of untoward expressions, like shouting when they actually don't need to shout, throwing temper tantrums, rolling on the floor to attract the attention of yours, running around to express joy, elation, or to ease their tension, complete withdrawal and oblivious to whatever is happening around them, increase in the level of stubbornness. Now, I will be sharing some experiences, if time permits, which I have had over the past few days during this lockdown period. There is this one child, when we had started our online classes, the first day when he sees his teacher, he starts running around the room for about 5 minutes, just taking the name of the teacher and running around him. And the parents are running after him to get him to sit. Now, why was he doing it? It was not running away from the studies. Actually, he was very happy to see his teacher after so many days. He was expressing his joy, and that is why he was running around. Now, what happens with them? These children, special needs children, they actually follow a routine. They go by a system, a structure. Now, snapping the structure, their inability to go to school, not being able to be with their friends, so they're missing their activity class, their games class. Some of the older ones who are preparing for their board exams now cannot give the exams. It's very unpredictable. We don't know when it's going to happen. And again, adapting to the new method of learning all adds up to their woes, and which actually we see, which result in different kinds of behavioral anomalies. Now, at this juncture, what can we do? At the moment, we need to understand them more than ever. A little peep into their world, we will find out the reason for their behavior. Why they behave so? Why are they behaving so? We as adults need to be a little more empathetic. We need to increase our calmness, be patient and be tolerant. And one more important thing, we need to separate the behavior from the child. Dwell a little more into the lives of them to find out the reason for this kind of outburst. Introduce them, calm them down, introduce them to the mystical world of spirituality, yoga. Now, our children will not understand if we say that please do this, please do that. We have to model, because our children learn from modeling. If you do it, they follow suit. Play a soothing music, an instrument perhaps which has a calming effect. Keep them meaningfully engaged. Bake their favorite cake. You must have done it an obtain number of times. But just draw out the recipe in a simple language. Ask the child to help you by reading it out. What are you doing? You are helping a struggling reader to reinforce his reading skills even without him knowing it. He feels important, he feels understood. Draw up a lockdown schedule for him, for them, as well as for yourself. Show them how you respect their schedule. They in turn learn to respect your time and work as well. Social stories are powerful tools for self-realization and correctness of untoward behavior. Draw up any names, Ram, Sham, whatever it is. Make a number of stories. Tell them. Ask them whether the behavior was right or not. They will do a self-realization and they will try to correct their behavior. We have to help them out. And parents, talk to them. Talk and talk. Because we need to keep this communication channel going. They are also very confused, negative news all around. Let us talk about the positives of COVID, how they are getting you around them, how you can play a favorite game. And please, please don't tell them that all will be normal. No, we are going to have a new normal and we need to teach them how to respect and embrace this new normal. For our children, the very chain of learning, unlearning, relearning are all very difficult. So whatever we say, we need to stick to it. So tell them that how world has changed because of COVID and how we need to move to a new normal. The whole world is moving to a new normal. The other day I was reading about the airport, how they are digitizing the entire thing, and talk to them about a new travel. If you have to take an air travel, what are the things you will have to do now which you were not doing before? Teach them how to respect and embrace the new normal. Talk to them, be patient with them, let's be little more empathetic. We will all come out of this. As my colleagues have said, that we are only a email or a phone call away. If you need any particular guidance on any of your children, feel free to mail me or write to me or just call me. We are always there as Heritage for you parents. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheila ma'am. It was so reassuring to know that you are all there for our children. And in any case, we at the Heritage believe that we and the parents, the family and the school, we are together one, we are partners, we are co-educators. And that is why this webinar, because we wanted everybody to know that it's not just about academics. We've been doing online classes. Some people say, oh wow, wonderful. These are so good. The others say that, they've been asked to do too much of work. We agree, we were doing academics, but at the same time, we were doing a lot of activities. And now we thought, why not give them that scaffolding, that support, that hand holding, and say, don't worry, we are all there for you. Now, the last person who's going to speak is again where we started. We started with the grade 12 children who will be graduating in 2020. And for them, it's been such a difficult time. So now, once again, we have to talk about those children who are taking admission in universities abroad. And the parents are scared, children are scared, the universities are not too sure about what is going to happen. Everything is a little uncertain. So we have with us Ma'am Lipi Sharma. Ma'am Lipi Sharma is a very, very highly experienced teacher and very experienced career counselor. She will be guiding you and telling you what should be done and how we can work on getting admission in colleges abroad. And she's not just going to tell you about that. She will also help you get scholarships. And she's been doing it for many, many years because she keeps traveling to various universities across the world. She has these connects and these ties with the admission officers. She'll be able to help you. Ma'am Lipi, may I request you to please take over? Is Lipi ma'am there? Hello, is Lipi ma'am there? There are so many people, I'm not being able to see Lipi ma'am. Pani sir, if you could tell us if Lipi ma'am is there or not.
Ma'am, I don't think she is here.
She is here. Maybe her mic is muted or something like that.
I'm calling her, ma'am. I'm calling her.
Is she there? Not there. So Anuja ma'am, will you take over for Lipi ma'am?
Hmm.
Okay, so parents, I'll tell you what exactly Lipi ma'am is about to tell you. See, there are universities across the world, be it the US or UK or Canada or Australia. Now, these are the different universities we're going to be talking about. And in these universities, the campus tours, online, virtual campus tours are open as of now. And they are giving scholarships. There is again a new normal for that because they've realized that these Canadian, Australian, US, UK universities also, the children, say for example, last year, there's some of our children who had taken admission in, say, LSE, London School of Economics. Now this girl has come back. She's, what Surana is she? Tanvi Surana. Tanvi Surana is back here and she is attending online classes now. So they are doing orientation online as of now. And they are also offering scholarship. And they've said that they will be giving admissions now in the month of maybe September, October, and then maybe the actual college will start in the month of January. So they will be taking the fees as per the classes from when you join, the number of months you join. Ma'am Anuja, will you be able to take over?
Yes,
Would you
ma'am.
like Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am. So, like Seema ma'am has already told you, the admissions are going on as per their schedule. But only thing is, a lot of the curriculum is being delivered online. What about those who are seeking admission still, who still haven't applied? Well, don't keep just one option. Keep 4, 5 options open, and don't invest all your money in one place. Also, you might want to consider a plan B, that is studying in India now at the undergraduate level and maybe then doing a post graduation abroad, because colleges are not going to open and we really don't know about the immigration policies, etc. A lot of countries are reconsidering a lot of things. So it's not just about the pandemic, it's also a lot of other factors, administrative factors. They need to clean up their campuses and sanitize them completely. They need to consider things like 50% attendance in college, so half the class will be having online classes and half the class would be attending physically. So all these things are still being considered, so you might want to rethink your options. However, if you have been made firm offers by universities, then it's great for you. You can already begin, like ma'am has said, some students have already started online classes. Some will be starting in September or October, and the schedule has already been given to them. Whereas the actual physical classes would only be beginning around January 2021. Yeah. So things will change by the time you people are ready for, I mean, the current class 12 batch. By the time you're ready for your admissions, things will change. The things will be more clear. None of the universities was prepared for this, but they are getting the policies in order. They are trying to put everything down on paper in black and white so that there are no doubts anywhere, right? But scholarships are being offered. In fact, like ma'am was saying, there is going to be some adjustment in the monetary element. So you might need to and all these admission offices, they are very, very prompt in responding to you. So if there is the slightest doubt that you have, get in touch with them, email them, and within 2 working days you get your responses. So don't rely on hearsay or don't rely on only your classmates for your responses. Get directly in touch with the university that you're interested in, and they will get back to you with offers or with whatever information that you require. Is that sufficient, ma'am, for now?
I think that's okay because I believe that no matter what, if they have to graduate in 2024, they will be able to graduate in 2024. So
Absolutely.
that won't be a problem. So parents, just feel free. There is Ma'am Lipi Sharma who hasn't been able to join for some reason. Ma'am Anuja is there. We will be sharing the email IDs of both the career counselors. Please feel free to get back to them. They will guide you. They will tell you which university, how, when, what are the cutoff dates, what are the cutoff percentages, when will they start their college, how will do they do you upskill yourselves for yourselves, so all that is going to be told to you by these counselors. So don't worry, we are there with you. So you can see the slide here where everything is mentioned. So parents, Lipi ma'am, are you here now? Lipi ma'am, are you here now? Okay, so fine. Probably she's not here. So parents, before we leave, we have received some questions, and these questions have been sent to me on my laptop, on my mobile. So I am going to ask some questions. These could be your questions. I don't know who all have written these questions. Reena ma'am, there is a question for you. How do you take care of bullying by classmates? Reena ma'am, where are you?
Thank you, ma'am, for the question. Thank you, ma'am, for the question.
Wait 1 minute, I'll just repeat. How do you take care of bullying by classmates?
Thank you so much, ma'am. Parents and students, first we have to understand the fact that bullying is something which is very, very common. It's very common. It happens in every school, but our school is a bit proactive in taking immediate step against the person who bullies, and we counselor provide them with immediate intervention. The first thing, I would like to divide the thing into two halves. First, the one who is a victim, and the second one we'll talk about the ones who have bullied the child. First, what happens is the victim, the person who is bullied, that person is in a state of mind where a lot of emotional disturbance is there. The child is upset, the child is crying, not feeling like coming to school, etc., etc. The first thing we have to do is we have to comfort the child, because until and unless we give them that emotional comfort to the child, will not be able to help the child. We need to let the child vent out as much as he or she can. We need to allow the child to share what he or she has gone through, allow him to completely drain out his feelings so that he's completely new in front of you, and then we can start off with the conversation. After we have done this, the child is in a emotional state where we can have one-to-one communication with that child. Here what we do is we help the child that how in this situation he or she can react, what is he or she supposed to do. Say for example, they need to report immediately to their parents after going back home, or they can report it to their teachers so that immediate help can be given to the child. After doing this, we need to identify the students who were bullying the child. Those bullies, there is a group session that is conducted where the students are sensitized on empathy, how they have to be empathetic towards the person who they have bullied and why they should not be doing it. After this, the peer mediation is done where the entire group, the victim who is there and the bullies who are there, they are brought together and they are allowed to sort out the matter in absence of the counselor, where there can be n number of reasons for bullying the child. So they talk, that alone time is given to them where they sort out their problems, and if they are not able to sort out the problem, the counselor intervenes and helps the students to sort out the problem. After that, what we do, we follow it up with the students that is everything fine or not, and if certain thing needs to be reinforced, that is done. Last but not the least, that needs to be reported to the discipline committee so that some kind of disciplinary action is taken against the students who were bullying the child. And we have been conducting a lot of life skill sessions with the students where we help students to identify the areas of strength and develop positive relationships and prevent with various, we discuss with them different ways to prevent bullying and how to go about it. Hopefully I've been able to answer to the concern.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. May I now ask this question from Gunjan ma'am? This is a question for you, Gunjan ma'am. Are you ready? Ma'am, Gunjan ma'am, the question I'll just repeat for you. I'll just tell you. How do we assist our children to resolve aggressive outbursts and ill behavior?
Thank you so much, ma'am, for the question. the answer to this question comes like that. Understand the feelings of your child, parents. It is very important to identify the emotions, as sometimes children find it very difficult to express. You need to be observant of the child's behavior pattern and also take into consideration the non-verbal gestures. If the pattern of behavior is persistent, communicating with the child will be helpful. Let the child release his pent up emotion. The next step would be to consult a mental health professional or a counselor who will facilitate and address to the concerns of the child. Immediately, the child will be helped, and we would try interventions on the basis of the problem and needs of the child. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Gunjan. I'm sure parents have got the reply that they wanted. Now, the next question is 1 minute. Anuja ma'am, there is a question for you. Many students have been asking this question. How do we know which online courses to enroll for?
Right. I have been getting this question very frequently in the past few days. And that's a very good question indeed, because you need to authenticate the source offering that online course. So the first thing, of course, to do is, if it's a university that is offering it, for example, IIT, like I mentioned before, or 2 days back, I have shared online courses being conducted by UPES in the next 2 weeks. You go to their official website, which means the university official website, and check for those links. If it is there on the official website, that means it's authentic, right? The second thing you can do is, if it's an individual or a group separately, not related to any college or university that are offering these courses, then again do a background check. How do you do that? Either you ask for the, generally they give their own websites or their email IDs, etc. So you go to those websites and find out where all they have worked. They will have stated their experience on it. So check with that. For example, Camp K12, which is a Gurgaon based company, they have conducted workshops physically all over India, and many people already know about it. Like, that's how it generally happens with a lot of people, that by word of mouth you know that, oh, this is a good training to have. So maybe you check the background that way, either website or this way. Attend the webinars or orientation courses. The orientation there, they will have a 1 hour orientation about that. For example, big picture project, again, this I had put on my senior WhatsApp groups. Attend those webinars, you will get a lot of information about that. And the fourth, it's not an instruction really, but it's something that you might want to consider. Some of the courses are free, but some have a little monetary aspect to it. You might need to discuss this with your parents, the family, because sometimes there is, you need to consider what is the duration, what is the content, are you going to get a digital certificate for it, and then accordingly you check with me, you check with Lipi, and then enroll yourself. Don't just go ahead and enroll yourself because it sounds fancy, right? Do a background check before you join an online course. Thanks.
Thank you, ma'am, Anuja. Anuja, this has been an eye-opener for me as well. In fact, even I didn't know about these things, because I keep receiving a lot of invites, the webinar invites and things like that. So one doesn't know the authenticity of these webinars. So thank you so much. Now, one question is for Sheila ma'am. Sheila ma'am, this is a very sweet question I must ask you. It says, my daughter has taken a serious aversion to studies since you began the online classes. Please help.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, we first, I would tell the parents that the child must not have taken an aversion to studies. Don't conclude it that way. We need to find out what is the aversion. The aversion is, it should be towards something else. I'll give you an example of a case which I have handled a few days ago. The child had an aversion towards writing. Now, when we had started our online classes, then this child was left with the laptop to continue with the class. Now, when in the normal classroom, the school days, what we did was, when we came to know that this child is having a problem, after some time she starts fidgeting and she will not write anymore. The teachers used to take away the writing from her, and the teachers started writing, and so that pressure or anxiety is taken off her, and there is no behavioral aberration following that. So even when you are sitting with your child for an online course, dear parent, please be with the child. See what is it. Make up arrangement with her. Let her write few lines. Then you complete that written work for her. The child does not have an aversion towards online classes. What I feel, the child may be having an aversion towards reading or writing or something else, where the child is unable to do that, and that is where the other factor starts playing, and they want to move away from that studies or whatever it is, and to us apparently it looks like the child has taken an aversion to studies. It's not that. I think we need to delve a little more deep and find out. The aversion should be for some of the scholastic activities like reading, writing, spelling. It must be somewhere there why the child is finding it so difficult. If you can mail me or you can talk to me, I would be able to give you a better understanding of the situation, and I think we both, all of us, can try to solve this issue for the child.
So this is so interesting to know, ma'am, because this you delve deep into their psyche and understand
Yes,
these
ma'am.
things. So, ma'am, now this is the sweetest question of the entire session. Not sweet actually for the child. It must be very, very scary. Pooja, ma'am, can I ask you to please answer this question? It says,
Sure.
my 5-year-old child is in constant fear of the coronavirus outbreak. He thinks that everyone will soon contract it and die. How do I deal with this situation? Poor thing, 5-year-old thinks that everybody will die now. Please, could you clarify on this, ma'am?
Sure, ma'am. Such a cute question, but very relevant to the present situation. Uh, Parents, stay calm. Explain your child in a way that is sensitive to your child age and level of understanding. Reassure your child that illness due to COVID-19 infection is generally mild, especially for children and young adults, and many of its symptoms can be treated. Keep reminding children many effective ways in which they can keep themselves safe at home by regularly washing their hands, avoid touching their face, and maintaining social distance. Children need structure. Stick to a routine that includes a playtime and technology free time. Check in with what kind of information they are hearing, whether it is correct or not, and provide them with accurate information. And most importantly, parents, monitor your own behavior and manage your own anxiety. Children rely on their parents to provide them a sense of security and safety. Hope I was able to address the concern. Stay safe. Thank you.
Okay, now there is one question for me, I believe. It says, how do you keep your children motivated during these times and inculcate in them a sense of compassion? So, parents, these little children have so much of energy in them, and they are the ones who keep us motivated. So if they are asking us how do we keep them motivated, well, then it's going to be a little difficult because I keep myself motivated throughout the day. This time is going to pass. We will go to school very soon. We will meet our children very soon, and we are going to follow all the instructions that have been given to us. We'll wear a mask. We will wear a face shield. This is something new. So these are things that make me a little I'm excited about these things, new things in life, and I'm very happy I won't have to travel that much because the work related too much of travel used to happen and too much of running around here there, partying here there. So now we are eating at home, so there are so many good things that are happening to us. And sense of compassion, yes, I think everybody at home is facing, so am I, facing a little bit of a problem with domestic help. So it will be nice if parents, instead of keeping them away from all this, could make them a part of this and say, look, these daily chores that we do, it's for us. The family does it for each other. We love each other. It doesn't matter whether you do it for me or I do it for you. So let the children love it. Actually, you people don't even realize that children love it. Because when we do it in school, children are there running around, cleaning, trying to clean up everything. So all that happens, parents, it's so much fun to be with children. This time will never come back again. So let me tell you, these 6, 8 months that we have with our parents, with our children, enjoy yourself, have a great time with them. And before we end, parents, now I don't think we can take any more questions because we've got just about 2 minutes left. So, ma'am, so parents, thank you so much for being here. But one thing, before we, yes, before we leave, I would like Mr. Shaumitro Jaiswal to say a poem which, he's very, very good at reciting and he writes very well also. But this is not a poem which is written by him. So this poem is written by somebody else. So he's going to recite it so that we stay resilient and we stay strong. Ma'am, please. Sir, please, Shaumitro sir.
धन्यवाद मैम। जैसा कि हम सब जानते हैं कि एक अच्छी कविता या एक अच्छा गीत हमारे तनाव को बहुत हद तक कम कर सकता है। तो मैं आप लोगों के सामने सोहनलाल द्विवेदी की एक कविता है, उस कविता की कुछ पंक्तियां सुनाना चाहूंगा। असफलता एक चुनौती है, स्वीकार करो, क्या कमी रह गई देखो और सुधार करो। जब तक ना सफल हो नींद चैन को त्यागो तुम, संघर्ष का मैदान छोड़कर मत भागो तुम। कुछ किए बिना ही जय जयकार नहीं होती, कोशिश करने वालों की कभी हार नहीं होती, कोशिश करने वालों की कभी हार नहीं होती। धन्यवाद।
We firmly believe that we will keep trying at the Heritage School. The Heritage School, students, parents, teachers, the staff, management, everyone. We are all together and we will continue to work. And let me tell you, we will win this over also. And these times are a little turbulent, but this will also go. This will pass. Thank you so much, parents, for being
Thank you
here.
so much, ma'am.
Thank you so much. There was one parent who suggested that we should have a webinar on, post-COVID, how the school will be. Sure, your point well taken. Next webinar will be on that. Thank you so much, parents.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
ma'am.
And we are
Enjoyed
Thank
it.
you,
by the
ma'am.
way,
Thank
online
you
education
so
is
much.
Very
We loved
relevant
it.
discussion.
We'll have a discussion next time. Sure.
Thank you so much. We're
Thank
very
you so much.
happy
Thank you.
the way
Thank you,
online is
everyone.
being done by the Heritage School.
Thank you, parents. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Wonderful. We loved it.
My both the
Thank you,
children
ma'am.
are in Heritage class 3 and 6, and they are enjoying the online school so much. Though they are
Thank
missing
you
the virtual
so much.
real school, but they are enjoying the online school so much.
Thank you so much, parents. Thank you so
Thank you, ma'am.
And I just
Thank you,
wanted
ma'am.
to add,
Thank
the
you so
Heritage
much.
School
Thank you so much, parents.
has been setting up examples for all over India, I guess, because the way the online education has been conducted from day one, I'm sure many of the institutes have followed the example of our Heritage School.
Thank you so much, parents. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Your help motivates us.
Can we leave?
Unfortunately, there are parents who couldn't join in at that time. They're joining now. So I'm feeling bad.
Actually, sometimes in Google Meet it happens that if we need to restart the browser and then again the people get joining. It happened 1 or 2 times with me also.
Oh.
Ma'am, we can share the video with them on our heritage page.
Ma'am,
Heritage
actually, I
page.
think there was live streaming also going on. Pani sir had
Yes,
made
yes.
There
sure.
was live streaming.
Okay.
There
There
was
was live
live
streaming
streaming.
going on, so that's okay. So I guess
Ma'am,
people
and
would
it
have
will,
seen it.
ma'am, it will be put up on YouTube also, Pani has said.
Yes, yes, yes. Ma'am, how did it go?
Wonderful.
I'm hoping we were able to address the concerns of the parents. That was what was
Yes.
required, actually.
Yes, ma'am. Very informative.